Line Center. Staff will now be available to answer calls on weekends, and the agency is also hiring and training more workers to handle the surge in calls.
It could potentially be a game changer in just helping people to get through to someone, especially if they have internet.
Live from Southwest Florida, you're watching Fox 4 Morning News.
And good morning. Thanks for joining us after soccer today. I'm Amy Wegman.
And I'm Lisa Greenberg. We want to check in with meteorologist Trent Eric, who's tracking the weather for today, because we've seen heat advisories pretty much every week in July.
It's been hot. It's been very hot. So let's see if we're going to see this on the last day of July. How about some rain in the forecast as well, Trent?
Yeah, a little bit. You know, they have heat advisories on the East Coast. They do not include Glades, Hendry, and Collier County. So we're going to wrap up the month of July here without a heat advisory, which we'll take. And we need the rainfall. We talked late last week about the extreme drought along the coastline. Well, as we look at the radar right now, we've got some showers and storms sitting off of Marco Island, Cape Romano, south there of Everglades City. A little bit of lightning there as these cells start to drift to the north. And we're also watching a batch of rain sitting off Cayo Costa, and they're starting to drift inland. Our rain will arrive earlier today, and you can see the showers and storms starting to develop around 1 o'clock before they get that push inland. And then we'll see the storms start to head over to the other coast. Now, with the rainfall arriving early, which should see our temperatures up around our average of 92 later on. Let's get a check of the roads and send it over to Lauren.
Trent, we are tracking something already this early in the morning. This is going to be near Tucker's Grade. This is mile marker 156, a crash right along I-75. Now, they say that this does involve some hazardous material, so it looks like whatever this dump truck was carrying is something they're going to have to clean up. One lane is blocked off, so let's get on over to maps to give you a better idea as to where all of this is. Just south of Punta Gorda, again, mile marker 156. This is impacting the southbound lanes. One lane is blocked off, not the only crash we're tracking either. Stick around for your next traffic report.
All right. Thanks for the update, Lauren. We appreciate it.
Well, the Bokeelia Fishing Pier is back open this morning for the very first time since Hurricane Ian 10 months ago. A lot of work went into getting here.
Fox 4's Elise Chingari is live this morning at the pier. So, Elise, I can see a few people there. Are there a lot of folks taking advantage of the new opening today?
Good morning, Amy and Lisa. Yes, I mean, it's a great day out here in Bokeelia. Pure perfect weather for people fishing out here. You can see that people are already here. It opened up at 7 o'clock this morning, but we were talking about this pier and it having a lot of, substantial damage since Hurricane Ian. I mean, when we're talking even these gates that you see here behind me, we know that that was basically thrown in the water from Hurricane Ian, and a diver actually went and recovered the gates. But we can see that people are out here fishing this morning. This pier has been used for more than 100 years as people have enjoyed fishing here from the Bokeelia Fishing Pier. According to their website, I'm sure many people right here in Southwest Florida and our viewers know the pier is known in this area to catch snapper, redfish, snook, and grouper, just to name a few. Now, if you want to come out here today and catch some fish, the entrance fee is $15 per person. Again, it opened up at 7 o'clock this morning. It'll stay open until 7 p.m. every day. However, on Thursdays, they're open from 7 a.m. to midnight. Private rentals are available Friday to Wednesday, 7 to midnight for up to 10 people. But Lisa and Amy, obviously, it's always just amazing to be out here and see all of the progress ever since Hurricane Ian. Again, the pier is back open. It opened at 7 o'clock this morning. I'm going to send it back to you guys because our photographer and I will go talk to some of these fishermen and their excitement, how they got out here bright and early today. So in the meantime, I'll send it back to you guys live here in Bokeelia. Elise Chingari, Fox 4.
Very good to see that, Elise. Thank you. And in just a few hours, Dock Ford's on Fort Myers Beach will reopen. It was destroyed in Hurricane Ian and had to shut its doors. Want to show you a live look from Dock Ford's. There's going to be a ribbon cutting ceremony to celebrate the long-awaited reopening at 11 o'clock this morning. This is actually video you're seeing here on your screen. Staff are going to show off the new patios, bars, and a renovated kitchen.
We're just looking forward to get back open and get going again, a little bit more sense of normalcy and kind of put this behind us.
Now, the Dock Ford's on Sanibel reopened in February. We'll show you what the renovations to the Fort Myers Beach location look like tonight on Fox 4 News at 5.
Well, Florida Highway Patrol says it's investigating a crash on US 41 where one person died. That crash happened at 41 and Evergreen Road, according to FHP. They say an SUV was traveling north on 41 and hit a pedestrian that was trying to cross the street. This crash is still under investigation.
And Florida Highway Patrol is also investigating a deadly hit-and-run crash on US 41 south of Jamaica Bay Boulevard in Fort Myers. It happened Saturday night.
FHP says a car was driving south on US 41 in the left lane when a pedestrian tried to cross the street. Troopers say the front of the car hit that pedestrian, who died on scene. They also say the driver took off. If you have any information on this crash, you're asked to call FHP. We have the number on our website, fox4now.com. Well, Sunsplash Water Park in Cape Coral is holding their Aloha Back to School Drive. It's a supply drive this week, so people can donate from this list of supplies you see right here on your screen now through Friday. People who donate will get a voucher for a $10 one-day admission ticket. All donations are going to be given to the Children's Advocacy Center of Southwest Florida, who will then distribute them to kids in Lee, Hendry, Glades, and Charlotte counties. You can see the full supply list online at fox4now.com.
Well, the city of Fort Myers will be swearing in its new police chief this week.
Traffic unit is on my radar to be one of the first things that I tackle.
So we are sitting down with the police chief to see how he plans to tackle the increase in traffic incidents we're seeing in the city of Fort Myers.
Well, coming up after the break, we got to walk you through your forecast because yesterday we managed to see our temperatures up to 97 in Punta Gorda. That broke a record going back to 2011. We'll let you know how hot this afternoon in just a moment.
All right, but first, let's get a quick check of your traffic hotspots.
In the eyes of the law, all men are created equal. Whether your case is worth $5,000 or $5 million, it doesn't matter. This is your big case. Our principles in our fight remain the same. At Farah & Farah, it's all about you.
Firm.
All right, time right now is 8:29. We do want to get you a check of the forecast with certified meteorologist Trent Eric. And Trent, I'm curious if we're going to expect some rain for today. We saw a little bit of rain last week and into this weekend. Is that trend going to continue?
A little bit different today just because the shower's going to arrive a little earlier. They're going to arrive near the interstate here in the next couple of hours and eventually are going to ride over towards the other coast. Now, you're looking outside here across the Naples Bay where right now things look nice and sunny. That sunshine will lead to a little more instability, and already we're starting to see some of those showers and storms just off the coastline. As the wind comes out of the southwest today, it's going to push these showers and thunderstorms inland. So right now for Port of the Islands, Everglades City, you're hearing the thunder for sure as these little thunderstorms are sitting over the 10,000 Island area. Cape Romano getting some wet weather. Marco still dry at the moment. And then we've got another batch here sitting just to the west of Cayo Costa, Boca Grande. This is the area that will continue to push inland later on today. You can see the computer model showing those showers and storms moving in around lunchtime, noon, 1 o'clock. We get a little more activity east of the interstate. So between I-75 and Lake Okeechobee, and with the southwesterly wind today, all the big stuff's going to push in the other direction. Now, we need the rain. We're still almost 5 inches behind for July, and unfortunately, we're going to finish the month up with a deficit of almost 5 inches here, as we shouldn't see a whole lot along the coastline. And boy, do we need it. Late last week, the drought index from the U.S. Drought Monitor shows that extreme drought there along the coastline from Inglewood all the way through Cape Hayes. Now, our temperatures in the mid to upper 70s here early. Dew point value still high, and we're going to see it feel more like 105 later on this afternoon. So no official heat advisories, but it is going to be hot with a temperature there of 92. Your sunset time coming up at 8:16. That reading of 92 right on the mark for this time of year. 97 is the record, and that is what we hit in Punta Gorda yesterday, breaking a record. Now, as far as the setup the next couple of days, old frontal boundary to the north, and as we take a little closer look, the key for today and tomorrow is that flow across the state. That will push the bigger thunderstorms towards I-95. And matter of fact, as we look here, inland showers and storms Monday and Tuesday. We get a little stormier for the middle and late parts of the week, where our rain chances will be back up around 60 to 70%.
All right, Trent, we continue to follow this developing traffic news over at I-75 southbound in Tucker's Grade. This is going to be at mile marker 156. Looks like this tow truck is backing up and about to hook up to this dump truck right here. Florida Highway Patrol is saying this crash did involve hazardous material. So with the one lane blocked off because of the crash, these big vehicles and also the big cleanup, it could be a little bit, but at least traffic is looking pretty thin and passing by in the other two lanes just fine. As we switch on over to maps, I can show you this is just south of Punta Gorda. So as you're headed from Charlotte County into Lee County, again, close to mile marker 156 to 158. Do keep in mind you could see some slowdowns every once in a while. As we head on over to Lee County, dealing with a couple of different crashes, we do have this one right here. This one is going to Pine Island Road and Brown Road. Time right now is 8:32, and you're watching Fox 4 Morning News.
Well, it seems like no matter where you look, there's a new diet trend popping up. But in today's Your Healthy Family, I'm looking into whether some of the latest actually work. Ever heard of carb cycling? It's one of the latest popular diet trends on social media.
So carb cycling, it restricts carbs. You do that, so maybe perhaps 3 days of low carb. And then you cycle that with a day of higher carbohydrates. We typically see this type of eating pattern in the athlete population.
Dr. Kristen Kells is a weight loss coach who went through her own weight loss journey. She dropped 80 pounds. She now helps others lose weight through her clinic. She's weighing in on another popular diet trend: intermittent fasting.
There's many different ways to do it. You can do 16-8, we call it, where you eat all of your food in 8 hours, fast for 16, 10, 14. You can do 1 day a week. There's so many different ways. The challenge with intermittent fasting is that it does try to hack our metabolism, and it can. It can work very effectively in some people, but no one size fits all. And if you're pre-diabetic, have blood sugar dysregulation, you can't be fasting on your own without clinical supervision.
Here's the thing. To lose weight, Dr. Kells says you need to find something you can stick with.
If you really want long-term life change and just to have a vibrant, amazing, healthy body, you have to look at physiology, physical, behavioral.
She says 95% of people struggle to lose weight on their own, and says discovering your why beyond just looking better can give you something to focus in on when challenges in your weight loss journey arise. For Your Healthy Family, I'm Lisa Greenberg, and for more health stories, head to fox4now.com/yourhealthyfamily.
Live from Southwest Florida, you're watching Fox 4 Morning News.
And good morning, welcome back. It's 8:40 on your Monday morning. I'm Amy Wegman.
And I'm Lisa Greenberg. We want to bring in certified meteorologist Trent Eric because he does say there is some rain on the way, but it's going to come at a bit of a different time than we've seen the last few days, right, Trent?
Yeah, if you were planning today like you did the weekend, it's going to be just a little different. Our showers and storms today and tomorrow are going to arrive earlier and then get that push inland and towards the East Coast. And already as we look across the Caloosahatchee, you're seeing a couple of showers there in the distance. One on the left-hand side of your screen and one almost right smack dab in the middle. So as we get you over to the radar, you can see the activity that's developing here, especially off of southern Collier near the 10,000 Island area. Cape Romano, pretty good downpours, and this cell is lifting up towards Marco. Most of the lightning is just south there of Everglades City, so we'll watch this line as it pulls north. And another now starting to approach the coastline of Cayo Costa, a bolt there out away from the main cell. And you can see the thunderstorms developing around lunchtime, then really widespread around 3-4 o'clock before they move over to the other coast. So right now we're starting our day in the upper 70s to low 80s. We should max out right around 92 degrees.
All right, Trent, I want to take everyone out to this developing traffic news. I-75 southbound, mile marker 156. This is going to be the Tucker's Grade exit. Looks like they're still trying to clear up this truck that was carrying hazardous material. One lane is blocked off. Switching over to maps, we can get to a couple of different crashes that are happening over in Lee County. Looks like the one that was on Pine Island has since cleared up, but as we head on out to Palm Beach Boulevard, still dealing with the crash here. Palm Beach Boulevard and Troyers Lane. I got to tell you, though, the bridges for Lee County are looking fantastic. It's only the Cape Coral Bridge that is looking a little slow in the yellow, but still, as you head from Cape Coral into Fort Myers, that's eastbound, only going to take you 3 minutes to cross the bridge. That's your morning traffic.
Thank you, Lauren. Well, this week, the new Fort Myers police chief will be sworn in. Fort Myers City Council appointed acting Major Jason Fields to the position earlier this month. Fox 4's Brianna Brownlee sat down with Fields to see how he plans to follow in the footsteps of late Chief Derek Diggs.
Honor, ethics, accountability, respect, and teamwork. These are the 5 words outside of the Fort Myers Police Department's headquarters. And when speaking with the newly selected Fort Myers Police Chief, Jason Fields, he tells me these standards is what he wants to uphold. Now, during an exclusive one-on-one interview, he tells me there are issues he wants to tackle immediately to make the community safer for you.
Jason Fields, Jason Fields.
Position?
Currently or will be?
Will be.
I'll be the Chief of Police for the city of Fort Myers.
The smile here says it all as Jason Fields introduces himself as police chief. And one of this new chief's top priorities is the traffic you deal with every day.
Traffic unit is on my radar to be one of the first things that I tackle. I want to make sure that we have a very, very, I want to say robust again, but robust traffic unit because we are seeing increases in not only traffic homicides, but traffic crashes with serious bodily injury.
Saying while fewer lives are being lost to violent crime in the city, more are dying on the roads.
Why should they trust you with this position?
You don't make the longevity in this career without being trusted. I've been here for 23 years now.
Fields is a native New Yorker, but he's only ever served with the Fort Myers Police Department. The major used to lead the Operations Bureau, which oversees patrol. And from his first shifts as an officer to now, he says he's learned a lot, including training and leadership with the FBI in Quantico and lessons from the late Fort Myers Police Chief, Derek Diggs.
Was there anything that you learned from him specifically?
Absolutely, I did. I learned the value of technology, how we can use technology to an advantage to drive down crime. I also appreciate the value in community engagement.
Fields must now keep those lessons rooted in the department while keeping stability during this change of leadership.
I've heard some terms out there that says we're divided. I think that's a very strong word. I've walked around the department. I walk around the department every single day and chit-chat with people, talk to people. That division is not there.
Much of the 2 hours we spent together, Fields talked about the importance of recruiting quality officers to protect and serve Fort Myers residents.
Hope that we will get our numbers up to where they need to be.
And in a growing city.
How are you going to try to tackle under your administration of making it where more officers want to work under FMPD?
I want to create a culture where people want to work, they're happy coming to work.
Fields believes that social media, word-of-mouth recruitment, and offering opportunities for officers to get into specialized units will set FMPD apart. But recruiting not this new chief's only immediate challenge. The city's own manager recommending an outsider for the job twice before city council voted him in the new position. I asked how he plans to balance a split decision on who wanted him in this role.
Constant communication, open communication. If you have that, I think everybody's success rate will go up because we'll be able to understand each other.
And his biggest personal challenge?
I think the expectations, I hold myself pretty high. I want to make sure I do a good job, and I'll put a lot of pressure on myself.
There is no set date for when Fields will be sworn into office, but he is getting to work, so no time is lost. I did speak with him for more than an hour, and if you want to see that extended interview, make sure you visit this story right now on fox4now.com. From the Fort Myers Police Headquarters, Brianna Brownlee, Fox 4.
A loss for Disney this morning. They were trying to stop a lawsuit that would block their special privileges, but a judge denied the request. The court denied Disney's request Friday to toss out the lawsuit filed by the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District. The district is suing Disney over its move to nullify the state's takeover. In a separate federal court case, Disney is suing Governor DeSantis over what the company believes is weaponization of powers. A spokesperson for Disney said Friday's decision has no bearing on the federal lawsuit.
New developments in the classified documents case involving former President Donald Trump.
CNN reports a Mar-a-Lago employee who oversees the property's surveillance cameras got a letter from federal prosecutors saying they are a target for criminal prosecution. Trump was first indicted last month. Sources say Yuscil Taveras met with investigators after Trump's indictment. It's not clear whether Taveras is cooperating with prosecutors, but CNN says some of the new allegations against Trump, included in an indictment filed last week, were based at least in part on information Taveras provided to prosecutors when he met with them. Taveras is not facing any charges right now in the classified documents case, despite receiving that letter. Trump has denied any wrongdoing.
Well, right now on the radar, a few showers and early morning storms starting to develop here as they move inland. We'll talk about the timeline here of the storms coming up after the break.
All right, but first, let's get a quick check of your traffic hotspots.
In the eyes of the law, all men are created equal. Whether your case is worth 5,000 or 5 million, it doesn't matter. This is your big case. Our principles in our fight remain the same. At Farah & Farah, it's all about you.
All right, good morning, 8:50 on your Monday morning. We're going to see some rain today, but Trent, you've been telling us it's going to be a little bit on the earlier side?
Yeah, like a couple weeks ago when we saw the wind come across the state, we start off with early showers and storms, and eventually the bigger stuff heads inland and over towards the East Coast. Matter of fact, it's how much of the early parts of July were. That's why we ended up with such a deficit for the month, because the heavier rain moves away. Looking across the Caloosahatchee right now, and you can see a couple of showers there in the distance, and otherwise we're going to be hot again. Temperatures right back in the low 90s, but not quite as hot as yesterday. Yesterday afternoon, we reached 97 degrees in Punta Gorda. That broke a record of 96 going back to 2011. Fort Myers and Naples shy of record levels, but right there in the mid-90s. So let's start off on the radar this morning with some showers and storms moving in towards the 10,000 Island area. Cape Romano has some pretty good downpours so far, not hitting Marco Island. And you can see this cell weakening as it moves a little closer here towards Port of the Islands and Everglades City. Another batch starting to move closer to the coastline between Cayo Costa and Boca Grande. So far, the rest of us are dry, but give it around lunchtime and we'll start to see the showers and storms develop here along the coast, and then they'll get that push inland. And that's where we're going to see the heaviest rain here today between Lake Okeechobee and I-75 before the big stuff heads on over to the other coast. We need the rain. We're going to wrap up the month of July with almost a 5-inch deficit, and the drought conditions continuing here along the coastline. We'll get another update here on Thursday. We got some help here over the weekend with showers and thunderstorms every afternoon, but boy, long way to go there along the west coast from Cape Hayes all the way up towards Venice under extreme drought. Our temperatures right now upper 70s to low 80s, and that wind is going to come in out of the southwest eventually today, pushing the storms in. So the heat index today will feel more like 105, and we'll see a high temperature right around 92. That mark is right exactly where we should be for this time of year. 92 is the average. The record on this date, 97, going back to 82. So as we look at the next 7 days here, that wind from the southwest will keep the showers and storms more inland for Monday and Tuesday. By the time we get towards the middle to later parts of the week, we're looking at those rain chances back up around 70% with some much needed rainfall. We keep our temperatures around 93 to 94 degrees here as we get towards the end of the week into the weekend.
All right, Trent, people are still trying to get this dump truck, it seems, right out of the median area after a crash I-75 southbound Tucker's Grade. That's mile marker 156. You can see they're hooking it up to the tow truck. Florida Highway Patrol says this crash does involve hazardous materials, so going to take some time to clear that one up. Looks like traffic is moving on by just fine, though. Headed over to Lee County, we do have a crash right off of the Midpoint Bridge. This is going to be Rarico Boulevard and Colonial Boulevard. Seeing a slight delay in that area. No associated roadblock. Headed down to Collier County, also dealing with the crash right off of I-75. If you're coming maybe from the Golden Gate community, this could slow you down. Santa Barbara Boulevard, Stargrass Lane, not seeing any delays northbound or even southbound right along Santa Barbara Boulevard. Time right now is 8:53. You are watching Fox 4 Morning News.
Coming up on Fox 4 Morning News at 9, it's been 10 months since Hurricane Ian devastated parts of Southwest Florida, but some staples are opening their doors today. We're going to be at one restaurant in particular that I know a lot of folks are happy to see back open.
Absolutely, and we're going to take you to Bokeelia to see how the fishing pier now looks that it is back open.
Well, we got some thunderstorms popping up on the radar already this morning, and we'll let you know where they're at and where they're headed coming up in just a moment.
Good morning. I'm Fox 4's Elise Chingari out here in Bokeelia as a popular spot opened back up this morning. We'll have those details in the next few minutes.
Live from Southwest Florida, you're watching Fox 4 Morning News.
Good morning. Thank you so much for watching Fox 4 Morning News at 9. I'm Lisa Greenberg.
I'm Amy Wegman. We want to get you a check of your weather if you're getting ready to head out the door with certified meteorologist Trent Eric. Trent, I know you said we're going to be seeing some rain, a little different timing today, right?
Yeah, a little earlier for sure. We're going to see the showers and thunderstorms develop around the coastline between now and lunch. Then they're going to get that shove inland, and most of us are waking up dry with a lot of sunshine here early. This is a look on top of our studios here in the Cape, where we have got all sunshine and temperatures eventually today back in the low 90s after being in the mid to upper 90s yesterday. We'll talk more about the records we broke coming up in just a bit. But this morning, those showers and storms right off the coastline here of Collier County. You can see the thunderstorms dying out now, just producing some light to moderate downpours between Marco and Everglades City, and another cluster losing a little steam as well off of Cayo Costa. As we go throughout the afternoon, the bigger thunderstorms will erupt between I-75 and Lake Okeechobee before moving on over towards the other coast. So as you step out, we're in the low 80s now, 86 in Naples, as a matter of fact. And as our winds come more out of the southwest today, we'll warm up to the low 90s, eventually on our way to 92 degrees, Lauren.
All right, Trent, so it looks like we still have crews working on this car, or I should say this crash. This is involving two different vehicles, one of them going to be a dump truck, according to Florida Highway Patrol, carrying hazardous material. One lane is blocked off, and they are doing their best to haul this right out of that wooded area you see. Switching on over to maps, I could give you a better idea as to where this is happening. Just south of Punta Gorda, I-75 southbound. It's near mile marker 158. That's the Tucker's Grade exit. Not the only crash that we're dealing with either. Probably the biggest one, though. As you head down to Lee County, we do have a slight crash that might slow you down. This is going to be Colonial Boulevard, Rareco Boulevard. Maybe it's going to be the eastbound lanes that are looking delayed westbound. You're looking just fine right along Colonial as you head closer to the bridge. Headed down to Collier County, also dealing with the crash in the Golden Gate community. This is Santa Barbara Boulevard and Stargrass Lane. Not really seeing any delays as you are headed southbound or even northbound right along Santa Barbara. That's your morning traffic.
Thank you, Lauren. The Bokeelia Fishing Pier is back open this morning for the first time since Hurricane Ian 10 months ago, and a lot of work went into getting here.
Yeah, we're happy to see this. Fox 4's Elise Chingary is live at the pier. Elise, so how's it looking for anyone that might want to stop by?
Good morning, Amy and Lisa. Obviously, it's a beautiful day out here, a great day to be out here fishing. And people were out here since 7 o'clock this morning when the Bokeelia Fishing Pier opened back up. A lot of people here tell us that it's been a long time coming since Hurricane Ian. Now, if you're not making it out here today, or maybe you're coming here later, let's take you beyond these gates here on the Bokeelia Fishing Pier. As you can see, the entrance fee is $15 when you arrive here. You know, these gates here, they were torn off during Hurricane Ian, and a diver actually found them in the water. But as we walk down this pier here, I've been speaking with people who say, you know, they either came here from Cape Coral or, you know, they've just been living here for years, and they're so excited to be back out here today. They say, again, it's been a long time coming, and they can finally make it out here. You know, this pier, people have been fishing here for more than 100 years here in our area in Southwest Florida. The pier here, people are known to catch grouper, redfish, snook, and, you know, even more than that. But today, you know, the fish are biting is what I'm being told. I'm told people are catching a few things. We've looked inside a few of their coolers to see the fish that they have been catching throughout the morning. Even one gentleman I spoke with, he drove over here from Cape Coral, and he told me just how nice it is to be out here today. He said, you know, he couldn't believe it's already back open, and he's been waiting ever since the hurricane. But if we show you around here, some people are even waving to us this morning. There's even a rainbow in the distance. If that shows you a sign of, you know, good things coming. Obviously, we know it's been a lot of progress since Hurricane Ian. But if you're making your way out here today, it is $15 to come out here today. It's open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. every day. Thursdays, it's open from 7 a.m. to midnight. So $15 if you're making your way out here. It's open until 7 p.m. But if you are an avid fisherman, you want to be out here, people are saying that they are catching things out here this morning. But Amy and Lisa, just a beautiful day out here today. And again, people are happy and excited to be out here ever since we know this was destroyed by Hurricane Ian, but it is back. So another story of positivity on this Monday morning here on Fox 4, talking about all of this rebuilding ever since Hurricane Ian. In the meantime, live here in Bokeelia, Elise Chingary, Fox 4.
And in just a few hours, Dock Ford's on Fort Myers Beach will reopen. This was also destroyed in Hurricane Ian. It had to shut its doors. Now, Dock Ford's is going to have a ribbon cutting ceremony. You're looking live right now. This is going to celebrate the long-awaited reopening here. It's happening at 11 o'clock this morning. Staff are going to show off the new patios, bars, and a renovated kitchen.
We're just looking forward to get back open and get going again, a little bit more sense of normalcy and kind of put this behind us.
The Dock Ford's on Sanibel reopened in February. We'll show you what the renovations to the Fort Myers Beach location look like tonight on Fox 4 News at 5.
Well, it's been 10 months since Ian swept through Southwest Florida, and this morning the Sanibel Captiva Conservation Foundation is taking some more steps to continue to recover after the storm. So crews are at the Bailey Homestead Preserve right now, and they're there to help plant greenery around the Native Landscape and Garden Center there. The foundation says the lawn around that home was damaged from flooding. So if you want to help out, you're welcome. They say just make sure to bring some water, gardening gloves, and wear closed-toe shoes.
We're almost 2 months into hurricane season, and today Charlotte County Emergency Management is making sure people are ready if a storm were to come our way. They're holding a hurricane preparedness presentation from 1 to 3 this afternoon at the Punta Gorda Charlotte Library. The county will go over how you can keep your home safe, your loved ones safe in the event of a storm.
9:06 right now. Florida Highway Patrol is investigating a crash on US 41 where they say one person died. It happened at 41 and Evergreen Road. According to FHP, an SUV was traveling north on 41 and hit a pedestrian that was trying to cross the street. FHP says they are still investigating.
And Florida Highway Patrol is investigating a deadly hit-and-run crash on US 41 south of Jamaica Bay Boulevard in Fort Myers. It happened Saturday night. FHP says a car was driving south on US 41 in the left lane when a pedestrian tried to cross the street. Troopers say the front of the car hit the pedestrian and they died on scene. They also say the driver took off. If you have any information on this crash, call FHP. We have the number right here on your screen and online at fox4now.com.
Fort Myers Police Department is providing some new details this morning about a shooting they say happened on Saturday. The police department is telling us that the shooting was a murder-suicide. It happened on William Street in Fort Myers. According to the police department, they got a call about gunfire in the area. They say this was an isolated domestic incident. There is no threat to the public, but the Fort Myers Police investigation still goes on.
Charlotte County Public Safety says a steel barn caught on fire in Punta Gorda over the weekend. Take a look at these pictures they posted. It happened Saturday night on Bronco Road, right off of Vermont Road. You can see all the damage here, my goodness. They say the steel barn was fully engulfed in flames when crews got there. Thankfully, firefighters were able to put this out and no one was hurt. State Fire Marshal is now investigating what sparked this fire.
A heads up, if you're planning to visit Manatee Park in Fort Myers, the park will be closing the fishing pier along the Orange River for scheduled maintenance. The pier will be closed through August 31st. The rest of the park will be open, though. That includes the playground, the walking trails, and the public kayak launch.
This morning, the Florida Department of Health in Lee County is warning about blue-green algae blooms in the Caloosahatchee River, more specifically in the San Marino Canal. Now, they say you shouldn't go in or come into contact with that water and be cautious when boating to avoid stirring up the blooms. They also say keep your pets away from that water, and if you do come into contact with this, make sure you wash your skin and your clothes right away.
Well, coming up after the break, we're going to get you a check of the radar as we've got some thunderstorms sitting just off the coastline. Early arrival today, but will that last the rest of the week? The forecast in minutes.
Former President Donald Trump is asking for help to pay his legal bills. This as more indictments continue to pile on. We're going to tell you what his team is launching to help cover the costs.
All right, but first I do want to give you all a quick check of those traffic hotspots.
In the eyes of the law, all men are created equal. Whether your case is worth $5,000 or $5 million, it doesn't matter. This is your big case. Our principles in our fight remain the same. At Farah & Farah, it's all about you.
9:13 right now. Here's a look at some of the top stories we're following today. An Idaho mother is expected to be sentenced in a bizarre case that gripped the nation. Lori Vallow Daybell faces life in prison without parole. She was found guilty of killing her 2 youngest children in May. She was also convicted of conspiring to kill her husband's first wife. Prosecutors convinced jurors that Vallow was motivated by strange cult beliefs and financial purposes. U.S. officials are trying to track down Chinese malware that's hidden within American military systems around the world. According to the New York Times, intelligence officials believe the software could give Beijing power to cut off electricity, water, and communications to U.S. military bases and even to civilian households. Officials believe Chinese hackers would activate the code if China ever decided to invade Taiwan. More than 40 people are dead in Pakistan after a militant blew himself up at a political rally. Nearly 200 people were injured during this attack. The blast targeted an Islamist party that's part of the governing coalition in Pakistan. Officials say the suicide bomber detonated his explosive vest near the stage where several senior leaders of that party were sitting.
Millions of people in our country have been dealing with extreme heat in the last few weeks, but that's just one example of our changing planet.
Yeah, Scripps News congressional correspondent Stephanie Liebergen. She's bringing us an update on how the White House is tackling climate change and how Americans feel about it.
Climate change has been an important issue for President Biden since the beginning of his administration. And while a majority of Americans agree that we need to work to reduce global warming, the partisan divide around climate change is growing.
I don't think anybody can deny the impact of climate change anymore.
Amid a sizzling hot summer, President Joe Biden announced new actions to combat extreme heat and drought. It comes as Americans across the country are feeling firsthand evidence of the changing climate.
All of these kinds of events are really starting to literally hit home, and many Americans are starting to go, oh my God, this isn't distant in time and space. This is happening right now, and we need to act.
According to Pew polling, a majority of Americans, 54%, think climate change is a major threat. But there's also a stark partisan divide. Over the last 15 years, the percent of Democrats who say climate change is a major threat has gone up, while that answer went down among Republicans. That partisan impact means politicians aren't the best messengers for climate change. But experts say new voices are stepping in to raise alarm about the warming planet in an impactful way.
But we're now seeing doctors and nurses talking about how climate change is showing up in their emergency room and in the waiting room. We're hearing from faith leaders saying our religion, Christianity, Judaism, Buddhism, Islam, all of these major leaders have said climate change is a fundamental moral issue that we must address as religious people.
Local meteorologists can be some of the most effective messengers for climate change, and the White House seems to recognize that. The Vice President's office has reached out to weathercasters across the country to start a discussion on best practices for talking about climate change and its impact. Stephanie Liebergen, Scripps News, Washington.
All right. No doubt it's been hot here in Southwest Florida.
So hot. I was just thinking too, yesterday we jumped in the pool for a little bit, and the second you get out, you already start to sweat because it's just so hot.
That's why you stay in until the
You
sun
don't
goes
get out.
down. Yeah. 97 yesterday. We broke a record in Punta Gorda. Now Fort Myers and Naples, we're shy in the mid-90s, but it seems like every day almost for the month of July, we tied or we're close to breaking records. And this morning, we're waking up hot for sure. Now the thunderstorms are going to arrive a little earlier today, and what that's going to do for us is keep our temperatures around 92 as the showers and storms head over towards the other coast. So as we look at the radar right now, we do have the showers and storms anywhere from Sanibel, Captiva down off the 10,000 Island area. Most of the heavier rain has tapered off now with just a couple of showers over Cape Romano. And you can see what's left of that here from 10,000 Island area, Everglades City. And this is going to dissipate now in the next little bit. Same idea for the thunderstorms that are off of Cayo Casa and Boca Grande, really beginning to weaken as they approach the coastline. So the forecast for today shows the showers and storms developing around lunchtime, then really exploding inland between Lake Okeechobee and I-75. As these continue, they'll get that push over towards the other coast. That's why our showers are going to arrive earlier today compared to late in the evening like we saw over the weekend. We need every drop we can get. We are still almost 5 inches behind here for the month of July, and as we wrap up the month today, we're going to end with a pretty large deficit. We'll get an update from the U.S. Drought Monitor here on Thursday, but you can see the areas that needed the rainfall rainfall. We saw quite a bit of rain, but it wasn't a lot here along the coast. We'll get that update and bring it to you here in a couple of days, but that extreme drought does continue. Low 80s to mid 80s right now. Naples leading the way, 86 degrees. And you can see the sunshine there for Punta Gorda, Immokalee, and Marco, where we're 86 degrees. So with our temperatures and humidity, it'll feel more like 100 to 105 here this afternoon, with some of the higher heat index values once again inland. And that high temperature today of 92, well, that's right on track where we should be for this time of year. The record on this date is 97, and that goes back to 1982. The setup has an old frontal boundary here to the north, not going to impact our weather a whole lot. It's shifted our winds a bit, so we'll go with inland showers and storms here for today and again for tomorrow, and that's going to keep our rain chance around 50 to 40% the next couple of days. But by Wednesday, we should get back to the pattern a little closer to the coastline. A couple areas to look at here in the tropics over the weekend. National Hurricane Center up the chance here of a tropical wave developing. This area, low pressure here, has about an 80% chance over the next 7 days. You can see the direction moving north over the open Atlantic. That is good news. Next name up on the list would be Emily, if it were to get a name. Another area here moved off the coast of the Carolinas. This one only has a 20% chance. That is down from the last couple of days. So a couple of areas to watch here as we wrap up July, heading into one of our busier months in the tropics, August and September. Now, your marine forecast today has those winds southeast at 5. Inland waters a light chop with the water temperature at 89. So for this afternoon, average temperatures 92 degrees. The inland showers and storms, your rain chance around 50%. We'll stay warm here overnight. We'll turn partly cloudy as those storms in. 78 is above our average here for this time of year, and we'll keep the overnights warm. As we get towards the middle, later parts of the week, those rain chances come back up as we'll see some stormy afternoons. Temperatures at or above our average all the way through the upcoming weekend. Lauren.
All right, Trent, let's take everyone on outside to this developing traffic news. I-75 southbound near Tucker's Grade. It still is looking the same almost. Right now, we're dealing with a multi-vehicle crash involving one of these dump trucks. And Florida Highway Patrol says this crash did involve hazardous material. One lane's blocked off. Southbound lanes are moving just fine, but it is causing some onlooker delays. Looks like because it's such a big utility truck and hazardous material is involved, it's going to take just a little bit to clear this one on up. To give you a better idea as to where this is, again, this is south of Punta Gorda, I-75 southbound, close to mile marker 158, which is the Tucker's Grade exit. It's about a mile south of the exit, to be a little bit more specific. Also tracking a couple of different crashes in Lee and Collier counties, one of them going to be at Rareco Boulevard and Colonial Boulevard, seeing a slight delay Colonial as you're headed eastbound. Westbound delays also starting to pick up, which is a big difference compared to the last time we checked in. Headed down to the Golden Gate community, we are dealing with a crash at Santa Barbara Boulevard and Stargrass Lane. Not seeing any delays, though, northbound, southbound, right along Santa Barbara. That's your morning traffic.
Thank you, Lauren. Well, Team USA will face Portugal tomorrow morning in the Women's World Cup. A former world champion weighs in on what it'll take for Team USA to win.
Good Monday morning, 9:24 right now. You are looking live at Tarpon Bay. This is the camera that sits at Tarpon Lodge there, just on Bokeelia. It looks absolutely gorgeous out in Southwest Florida today, but it's a hot one. We know that, right? We've been dealing with those temps over the past few weeks. Meteorologist Trent Eric said we are going to see rain today, but it's going to be on the earlier side. He's going to time out when you might see some of that wet weather coming up in his full forecast here in just a couple of minutes. All right, soccer fans around the world, they are holding their breath ahead of tomorrow's match. It's between Portugal and Team USA, of course, in the FIFA Women's World Cup.
Their last game against the Netherlands was neck and neck before ending in a tie. Even past world champions are impressed with the performance of the competition and Team USA.
I understand that they may be a little bit concerned because we haven't played our best soccer yet. We did have a fantastic second half against the Netherlands, so that's encouraging to me. But this game against Portugal is vital, and I don't think the team is going to sleep on them. They know they have to get at least a tie, and a win would be better, obviously, to go into the knockout phase.
It's critical, right? So the game, if you want to watch it, woo, go to bed now, because it is at 3 o'clock tomorrow morning. It's live here, though, if you want to maybe record it or tune in on Fox 4.
Yeah, but for all you soccer fans who maybe need to get some actual sleep, we will be bringing you the highlights first thing tomorrow morning.
Yes. All right. So there's been a development in the battle between Disney and Governor Ron DeSantis. Still to come, we're going to tell you about the blow to Disney's recent legal maneuver.
From Southwest Florida, you're watching Fox 4 Morning News.
9:29 is the time. Thank you so much for watching Fox 4 Morning News. I'm Lisa Greenberg.
I'm Amy Wegman. If you're getting ready to head out the door, we want to get you a check of weather with certified meteorologist Trent Eric. I know hot is definitely in our forecast. What about rain?
Yeah, we got some rain coming earlier today. Our weather pattern shifting a little bit compared to where we were over the weekend. And this view across the Caloosahatchee, the camera's angled up there that we're picking up some of the showers in the distance. Now, the showers and thunderstorms will start to develop, especially around lunchtime here. And then the bigger stuff gets a push towards Lake Okeechobee. It's the same pattern we were in for a majority of the early parts of the month that left us just high and dry as far as rainfall. That's why we're running almost a 5-inch deficit for the month. The thunderstorms here around Everglades City and Cape Romano have pretty much all but gone, and we're watching some more development well offshore of Naples and North Naples. Now, as far as the activity goes here, you see it there between 4 and 6 developing east of the interstate, and our temperatures right now low to mid 80s with Naples at 86. So we check in on some of the other locations here, and we've got 86 also in Marco. Eventually this afternoon, we'll get up around 92, which is our average. We'll let you know how long this little flip in the weather pattern is going to last coming up in a few minutes, Lauren.
All right, Trent, so before we can get to that, I got to get everyone out the door for that Monday morning commute. I-75 near mile marker 139. That's the Leckett Road exit. The exit looks just fine off in the distance. I-75 northbound, southbound also moving nice and smoothly. Switching over to maps, we are still dealing with that dump truck, that crash involving a dump truck, I should say, that was carrying hazardous material. So that is going to have a partial roadblock at I-75 southbound at the Tucker's Grade exit. That's close to mile marker 158. Even with the partial roadblock southbound lanes, they're still moving pretty smoothly. We've been checking in, giving you live looks of that area all morning long, and traffic hasn't really slowed down too much. Starting to see some delays build up here due to a crash at Rareco Boulevard and Colonial Boulevard. It's really the eastbound lanes of Colonial after you get over the bridge that are looking slow. And headed down to Collier County in the Golden Gate community, we do have a crash Santa Barbara Boulevard, and this is near Stargrass Lane, so not exactly on Stargrass Lane. Still, though, not picking up any delays southbound or now northbound on Santa Barbara Boulevard. That's your morning traffic.
Thank you, Lauren. Well, CNN is reporting former President Donald Trump's legal team is creating a new legal defense fund. The money will help offset some of Trump's legal bills and the bills of some of his current and former aides caught up in investigations involving the former president. Trump's political action committee, Save America, has already spent more than $40 million on his legal fees and the fees of some of his associates since the start of the year. Sources say the new fund will be called the Patriot Legal Defense Fund.
Well, it is 9:31 right now. There are some new developments in the classified documents case involving the former president.
CNN reports a Mar-a-Lago employee who oversees the property's surveillance cameras got a letter from federal prosecutors saying they are the target for criminal prosecution. Of course, Trump was indicted last month.
Yeah, sources say Yuscil Taveras met with investigators after Trump's indictment. It is not clear whether Taveras is cooperating with prosecutors, but CNN says some of these new allegations against Trump, included in an indictment filed last week, were based, at least in part, on information that Taveras provided to prosecutors when he met with them. Taveras is not facing charges right now in the classified document case, despite him being given a letter saying he is the target of some kind of criminal charge. Trump has denied any wrongdoing.
The former president could be on the verge of new indictments in both Washington, D.C. and Georgia.
As his legal troubles mount, Republicans on Capitol Hill, they are trying to make their own case against President Biden and his son Hunter. Doug Lazater has more from Washington.
Well, lawmakers here on Capitol Hill today will hear from one of Hunter Biden's closest business partners, and former President Trump is bracing for some more charges.
They're not indicting me, they're indicting you. I just happen to be standing in their way. That's all it is.
Former President Trump on the campaign trail over the weekend, and more indictments could be on the way. First in Washington, where the former president could soon face charges for his efforts to overturn the 2020 election. And there's also the possibility of election fraud charges in Georgia. Just last week, Trump was charged with attempting to erase security tapes in connection with the Florida classified documents investigation.
He certainly has a mountain of legal issues he's having to deal with all at once. That doesn't even include some of the civil matters that are pending against him.
And the hits keep coming, too, for President Biden's son, Hunter. His plea deal on tax and felony gun charges fell apart last week, And today, his former business partner, Devon Archer, is expected to tell lawmakers what role Joe Biden may have played in his son's business deals.
This was a person who was in business with Hunter Biden and Biden family members. He was the BFF of the president's son. He has a lot of information, I believe, that we'll be able to fact check and corroborate with other witnesses and other whistleblowers.
This investigation started during the Trump administration, and they've come forward with not one shred of evidence tying President Biden to any of this.
And Devon Archer, by the way, has his own legal problems. Over the weekend, in a separate case, federal prosecutors pushed to have him begin serving time on federal fraud charges. In Washington, Doug Luzader, Fox News.
Miami Mayor Francis Suarez was campaigning in Iowa this weekend. He attended Mass with his family at St. Anthony Catholic Church. The Miami mayor says he believes the federal government should set a time frame on when a woman should be allowed to terminate pregnancy.
Certainly would support states like Iowa and Florida and others that have stricter standards than what would be the federal minimum. But I think the federal minimum is something that we can pass, and it will protect and save a tremendous amount of lives.
The abortion issue was sent to the states after the Supreme Court ruled last year there is no constitutional right to get an abortion.
A loss for Disney this morning. They were trying to stop a lawsuit that would block their special privileges, but a judge denied the request. Now, the court denied Disney's request Friday to toss out that lawsuit. It was filed by the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District. The district is suing Disney over its move to nullify the state's takeover. In a separate federal court case, Disney is suing Governor DeSantis over what the company believes is weaponization of power. A spokesperson for Disney said Friday's decision has no bearing on the federal lawsuit.
Well, candidates for the Republican presidential nomination, they hit the campaign trail, making their pitch to voters. Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis stumped for votes in New Hampshire yesterday. That's where the GOP's first-in-the-nation primaries will be taking place next year. He says if he is elected president, he'll bring an end to what he calls the four branches of government.
The bureaucracy has not been held accountable. That's why you have things like weaponization of agencies like the IRS, FBI, and the Department of Justice, because the founders understood if you allow power to accumulate without constitutional restraints, human nature being what it is, they are going to abuse their power.
Former Vice President Mike Pence attended the Clinton County GOP annual Hog Roast. That was in Clinton, Iowa. That's the state where the first-in-the-nation Republican presidential caucuses will be held next year. Pence says he's confident he will reach the fundraising threshold to qualify for the first GOP presidential candidates debate. That will be held in August.
The Biden administration is launching a website for its new student loan repayment plan. The president's new plan could lower monthly student loan payments for some borrowers and reduce the amount they pay back over the lifetime of their loans. Students can access the website now during this trial period and apply for this new program. The Supreme Court recently rejected the president's efforts to wipe out student debt for millions of borrowers.
All right, it is 9:37 right now. Most kids in Southwest Florida will be going back to school next week.
A lot of kids still need to catch up on math and reading skills that they didn't quite master during the pandemic. And teachers say some of the students have larger learning gaps than others.
Fox News' Chris DeMayo is taking a closer look.
With back-to-school season almost around the corner, many students are still working to bridge learning gaps ushered in by the pandemic.
26 children trying to listen to a teacher talk through a computer screen.
And while making up for lost reading and math skills can be difficult, advocates say it can be especially hard for students facing uncertain housing situations.
If it wasn't computer issues, it was literally just learning issues.
The sentiment rung true for Bridget Ibaru's daughter, Aaliyah, who by the time she started second grade, her family had moved 5 times in 4 years to find stable living accommodations. The constant moving, combined with difficulty adjusting to online classes during the pandemic, took a toll on Aaliyah's ability to learn. And at 8 years old, her mom says
she did not know her alphabet.
Bridget was like many parents across the country who did not tell their child's school that they were living in a shelter. Homeless advocacy groups say the stigma surrounding housing insecurity keeps many people from talking about their situations. But without proper documentation about unhoused students, school officials say it's hard to make sure those who need extra help can get it.
Ultimately, we're supposed to be educating all these children, right? That cannot be done without taking care of some of these other services. We have to provide these wraparound services for our families and our children in order for them to be successful in school.
Some educators say a return to in-person learning after the pandemic lets school officials better identify signs of homelessness in kids compared to virtual classes. Meanwhile, for Aaliyah, her mom says that she's getting better help at her new school where she's making progress. Chris DeMeo, Fox News.
9:39 is the time right now. The FAA is investigating a deadly plane crash in California. This crash happened at Cable Airport in Upland yesterday. 3 people died. The fire department says the plane crashed into a hangar and was immediately engulfed in flames. The fire was put out, and officials say the hangar has moderate damage. Police in Michigan are investigating a shooting. 5 people were shot in Lansing yesterday morning. Investigators say when they got to the shopping center parking lot, a large crowd was gathered together, and the size of the crowd led police to ask for help from neighboring areas. 2 of the victims are in critical condition this morning. The ages of the people shot range from 16 years old to 26. Several people have been detained as persons of interest.
Well, 2 women are behind bars in Bay County this morning. One of them had her ear bitten off. Authorities say the incident occurred at a house party that was thrown by unsupervised minors. So police say there was some kind of confrontation that started over accusations that someone stole alcohol and vape pens. 18-year-old Dixie Stiles and 23-year-old Macy Reagan began to fight, according to police, and it was during that incident that Reagan reportedly bit the top of Stiles' ear off. Stiles' ear was unable to be reattached. Reagan has been charged with felony battery, causing bodily harm, and Stiles was charged with battery, touch, or strike.
All right, if you've ever wondered what it looks like when a nearly 400-pound gator needs a CAT scan, well, here it is. Yeah, the gator wasn't feeling so well, so just like most of us, we go to the doctor when we don't feel good. The gator's name is Brooke. He lives at the St. Augustine Alligator Farm Zoological Park. They say he was acting kind of strange, so he was taken to the University of Florida College of Veterinary Medicine. After some blood work, he got his CAT scan done, and it turns out this big guy has an ear infection.
We took a look in his ears, and it was sure full of a lot of different things, some sand, some infectious material. And so we were able to remove that just manually with some very careful scooping and got his ear nice and clean.
He's back home at the zoo to fully recover.
Joni Mitchell's historic return to the concert stage will be available online for everyone to enjoy, but we're going to tell you why her comeback is so monumental.
But first, I do want to give you a quick check of your traffic hotspots.
In the eyes of the law, all men are created equal. Whether your case is worth $5,000 or $5 million, it doesn't matter. This is your big case. Our principles in our fight remain the same. At Farah and Farah, it's all about you.
Just about to be 9:45. Here's some of the top stories we're following right now. Former President Donald Trump is expected to launch a legal defense fund to pay for his ongoing legal troubles. Trump is now facing 3 indictments and could be charged in 2 more cases. Multiple reports say he's been using political donations to pay for legal fees. His political action committee is expected to share today that it spent about $40 million in legal fees in the first half of this year. This morning, people are getting more concerned about the safety of an American woman and child who've been kidnapped in Haiti. Alex Dorsainville works for a Christian humanitarian aid organization, and that organization says she and her son were abducted Thursday morning while serving in their community ministry. The Biden administration says they are closely monitoring this situation, and they are working with Haitian authorities. Live recordings of Joni Mitchell's return to the concert stage in 2022 are out now.
Yeah, Rick DeMaglia has the story in his report.
Summertime and the living is easy.
Joni Mitchell's surprise return to the concert stage at the 2022 Newport Folk Festival is documented on a new live album produced by Brandi Carlile. Joni Mitchell at Newport featuring the Joni Jam is out now on CD, vinyl, digital, and in Dolby Atmos.
I love you, Polly.
More Newport news as a previously lost recording from the 1966 Newport Jazz Festival of Nina Simone can be experienced on You've Got to Learn. The new album is part of a trio of releases celebrating Simone's 90th birthday. Brian May boldly goes solo. The Queen guitarist is in the midst of a reissue campaign of his solo albums, with the latest being Brian May and Friends' Starfleet Project. Originally released in 1983, the album finds May playing alongside Eddie Van Halen. The 40th anniversary edition features updated mixes and is expanded with vintage interviews and live performances. In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damagella.
The Queen videos were always interesting.
Oh, yes. Always.
Tribute to Barbie there.
You know, you've heard the name Joni Mitchell a lot.
Yeah.
But I couldn't tell you one of her songs. I had to do a little Googling.
Yeah.
Just a little bit before my time. But 79 and back on tour, that's...
She's amazing.
Yeah.
Impressive for sure.
Setting goals. Let's give you guys a check of the forecast here today as we look around town. We're mainly dry. We do have some showers and thunderstorms developing off the coastline. And with our dry conditions here early, our temperature is going to climb. We should make it up to our average of 92 here today, but we will see some wet weather early with the showers and thunderstorms quickly moving over towards the other coast. Now, over the weekend, we saw some showers and thunderstorms late in the day, and it allowed our temperatures to climb up in the mid-90s because our wind was east to west. We broke a record in Punta Gorda yesterday, reaching 97. That old record was 96 going back to 2011. And again, today we should be cooler because our flow is going the opposite direction. So what that means is we're going to see the showers and thunderstorms out over the open water eventually get a push inland here. And the thunderstorms we had early off of Marco Island and down around the 10,000 Islet area, you can see what's left here between Everglades City and Port of the Islands. Another little cluster here beginning to amp back up a little bit as it approaches the barrier islands here of Cape Hayes, Inglewood and Rotunda. This is a place where we desperately need the rain. That location is under extreme drought, and the coastline is where we need the rain. You can see that line of thunderstorms starting to develop. So the forecast calls them to develop, in particular, east of I-75 later this afternoon, and they'll get that push inland, and that'll take all the heavy rain between the lake and I-95. That's a pattern we saw early this month, and that's why we've been so dry. You can see the deficit here just for the month of July, almost 5 inches. So we'll wrap up the month today with almost a 5-inch deficit. Year to date, we're approaching 10 once again. And I mentioned the drought wall go, and you can see that same area where we have showers sitting offshore under extreme drought. We'll get an update from the U.S. Drought Monitor here on Thursday as we desperately need some rain right along the coast. And you can see the severe drought there in orange from Burnt Store all the way down towards the Lee Islands. Now, as far as our temperatures, right now we're in the upper 80s for Naples with the thunderstorm in the vicinity, and you can see the temperature Temperatures in Marco also in the mid to upper 80s, Punta Gorda at 83. You factor in the humidity later on, it'll feel close to 105 again this afternoon, but this is exactly where we should be for this time in late July. So as we turn the corner into August here, we're going to see our rain chances start to ramp back up mid to late week. We should be around 92 today and tomorrow. Now, as far as we've got going on here on the radar and satellite, you can see this old frontal system to the north, high pressure to the south there. And as we look at the days ahead, today and tomorrow, we'll see the showers and thunderstorms start to push inland and eventually over to the east coast. About a 40 to 50% chance of rain both today and tomorrow, but it should begin to ramp back up. In the tropics, National Hurricane Center are watching a couple of areas. This one still has a high chance as it moves north. So the next name up on the list is Emily. And even though this has the likelihood of developing over the next 7 days, the movement is out over the open Atlantic and it stays away from Bermuda. The other area came off the coast of the Carolinas here and only has a 20% chance. That's down from 30 late last night. Now, as far as your marine forecast here, seas foot or less, inland waters a light chop with their water temperature still near 90. So as we see a little more shower and thunderstorm inland the next couple of days, our rain chance comes back up mid to late in the week where we keep our temperatures there in the low to mid 90s. I'll send it over to Lauren now. Lauren, how are things looking on the road?
They're looking a little bit better, but in certain spots. I want to caveat that right now. Trent, I-75 near Tucker's Grade, we do have a crash involving some hazardous material, but the further you get along Tucker's Grade, you can see everything is nice and clear despite that roadblock. So if you're headed northbound, southbound, maybe Lee County into Charlotte County, things are looking just fine. Switching on over to maps, I can give you a better idea as to where that crash is. It's about 1 mile south of the Tucker's Grade exit. Again, southbound lanes have one lane blocked off. Things not looking half bad, though. You saw all of the green with those sensors right there. Headed on over to Lee County, we do have a crash. This is Rareco Boulevard and Colonial Boulevard. It's just the westbound lanes of Colonial that are picking up the delays, or excuse me, eastbound. It's the westbound lanes that are still in the green. So if you're headed from Fort Myers into Cape Coral, you shouldn't have any issues on the Midpoint Bridge. As we get closer to the Golden Gate community, things also looking pretty good, except for this one crash right here, Santa Barbara Boulevard and Stargrass Lane. Still, Santa Barbara, I'm not picking up any delays northbound or southbound. That's your morning traffic.
Sunsplash Family Water Park will be holding its back to school supply drive this week. We're going to tell you how you can donate, what you can donate, and who's going to get all this help.
foxnews.com.
Good morning. Time right now is 9:55. You're looking live from our camera at the Luminary Hotel in downtown Fort Myers. Some blue skies this morning, which is nice to see. I remember Friday when we were checking out these cameras around this time. It was kind of gloomy and gray, but things look good here. Maybe a few clouds in the sky. Trent does say some rain is on the way for parts of Southwest Florida today. We'll check in with him for one last check of the forecast in just a minute.
All right, and it's almost time for the kids to go back to school. So this week, Sunsplash Family Water Park in Cape Coral is holding its Aloha Back to School Supply Drive. If you donate school supplies from their preferred list, you will get a voucher. It's worth $10, a one-day admission ticket. Some of the preferred items they're looking for are listed on your screen. All of the donations will be given to the Children's Advocacy Center of Southwest Florida, and they'll be handed out to families in Lee, Hendry, Glades, and Charlotte counties. If you want to see a full list of the things they need, we have that on our website, fox4now.com.
All right, so Trent, we're talking about rain that's starting a little bit earlier today than we've seen as the usual trend the last few days. What time are you thinking?
We're looking around lunchtime, so if you're thinking about going out and grabbing a bite to eat for lunch, just know that there'll be some showers or storms around. Most of this should be out of here by the evening commute as the storms push inland. We'll keep a very similar forecast in play for tomorrow.
All right, that's going to do it for us today. Thanks for joining us for Fox 4 Morning News.
Have a good one.